Welcome back to another episode of Bears Talk Live here from the Blowing Rock Draft House in Hickory. Eric Bach, joined by head football coach Mike Jacobs. It feels like fall today. You know, it's a beautiful day. It's about 65 degrees, hardly a cloud in the sky. So it feels like we finally reached fall. Feels like football weather, coach. But just a quick little recap of the week. Men's soccer, a huge win last night over Barton, 2-1. They gave up a goal 10 seconds into the game. I don't know how that's possible in soccer, but they scored 2 second-half goals. Victor Cascone, the winner, to come back and get the Bears back on track. Volleyball had a great week. 2 home conference wins this week, and they're 3-0 in league play. Football home this weekend, and head coach Mike Jacobs joins me now. Coach, coming off first regular season loss at Newberry, first one since 2017 for the Bears in the regular season in conference play. You know, it's not something that's happened a lot here for these guys in the regular season. So let's just talk about the game for a minute last Saturday. You won the turnover battle. That's a big thing that we always talk about. Mm-hmm. It felt like you guys played a pretty clean game. So what was your biggest assessment, or what did you think the biggest factor was in last Saturday's game?
Yeah, just like any game, I thought that it came down to a few, more than a handful of critical plays, and at the most critical points, we didn't execute at a level that we needed to. Sure. We weren't in position, or we didn't put them in position, and we'll clean those things up. And I think we've talked a lot about competitive focus this week for our kids and making sure that we're dialed in all the time. We have although we have a good mix of young and old, we have a lot of young players on our team, and there's always some growing pains with those guys, but you have to get them trained in your culture and your way and how you do things, and they got to understand how to respond. And I think for us, just coming back out and hitting that reset button and the refocus of having a really good week of practice has been something we've really concentrated on, as well as that competitive focus.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is the mentality different in practice this week? I mean, it shouldn't probably be that different. I mean, everything that you guys want is still in front of you. Like,
absolutely.
One loss is not going to derail the season unless you let it.
Right.
And so I just feel like everything that you guys hope to accomplish is still able to be accomplished, right?
It most certainly is. And I think that, I didn't think we had a bad week going into Newberry.
Right.
We felt pretty good about it. We had a little bit of the bye week stuff, but in general, we had a good week of preparation, or good 2 weeks of preparation. And so this week, I think you just see a little more. Guys maybe get their shoelaces tied up a little tighter and their helmets strapped on a little bit more, and they've certainly been more deliberate in how they've gone about their business, and in a way that I didn't think we had a ton of room for improvement. So it's been fun to watch, especially the young kids. I think even the guys on the look teams, or the people that simulate what our opponent are doing, I think they've given us a better look this week, and I think our older guys have done a nice job of laying out pretty clear expectations.
This upcoming Saturday is a day that I think the program has had circled on the calendar for a long time. The first real home game since December of 2019, with full fans, the full crowd, student section, the whole shebang. So is that something that you guys are just itching to get out there and be a part of?
I'm as excited as the kids, right? Like, we had two opportunities in the spring to be between the bricks, but to have a full house, to have the energy, the excitement of our fans on a game day, the tailgating atmosphere, and to have it be hitting on all cylinders, we can't wait to get out there and play our hearts out for our fans.
And to put the cherry on top, at the night game. So,
That's right.
You have all types, the whole day to kind of get ready for the game.
Absolutely.
As a coach or a player, do you prefer night games to day games, or do you not really have a preference?
I think I've been a part of a lot more day games than I have been night games. I think some of the things that you get with an early game are you kind of get it in, like you're ready to go and go. Like the time from when you get up in the morning to when you have to kick off a little bit later, it leaves guys with that game day anxiety. But, we think we have a good game day plan. We get them up, we get them going. We do a little bit of stretch. We do some walking through. So we occupy them enough, and just those last few minute reminders for that competitive focus. And, I think we'll be ready to roll.
So let's talk about Mars Hill. They're 2-1, lost their opener in overtime, and have kind of throttled two maybe lesser opponents this last 2 weeks. But they have a lot of experience returning, and some of the guys have put up some eye-popping numbers. They have 20 sacks through 3 games. So that's no small number to talk about. So where do you start when you think about Mars Hill?
I think it starts with, the defense has had some of those eye-popping stats, but offensively, I think they're doing a really good job. They've run the football. They've shown good balance. Their quarterback, I believe, is a senior, at least a multi-year starter, and he's picked up where he's left off. I think they have some speed at the skill position at wide receiver. I think one of their biggest weapons is really number 47, their tight end. He's an inline guy. He lines up at fullback. They use him a bunch in the red zone, and he's made some tremendous plays for them. And then you roll in the success they've had at getting to the quarterback on defense and being disruptive with the football. And they're a team that's playing pretty good football right now.
By the way, I don't know if you know this. This is the 50th all-time meeting between LR and Mars Hill, and the series is 24, 24, and 1. So this is the decider.
This is it.
This is it. So it's going to be interesting. Head coach Tim Clifton is also 145 and 144 at the school. So I mean, there's a lot at stake for Mars Hill in this game. Obviously, the same for you guys. So I want to shift the focus a little bit to an individual matchup. I want to talk about Drake Young a little bit. It seems like in the first 2 games, the 2 teams that you've played have really catered their game plan to Drake. These throw extra bodies at him. Does that open up opportunities for others? I mean, we've seen DeAndre Lester have a really good start to the season. We've seen Ryan Carter have a good start to the season. We've seen you guys be able to run the ball. Dwayne McGee's got over 300 yards in the first 2 games. Mm-hmm. So I think that my question is Derek as a distraction just as effective as Derek being Derek?
Sure. We never look at Derek as a distraction.
Right.
I mean, we try to be very intentional with getting him the football. I think he had 10 or 11 targets in the Newberry game last week. And so, we know he's a guy that has special talents, but we also have other kids. And, you never want to force anything. You want to take what the defense gives you, and then there's points in the game where you want to think, players over plays. And,
right.
We try to be mindful of that stuff going into it. And, we don't want to force anything. The worst thing you can do is force it.
Sure.
And so, but the best thing about Derek is he's a great teammate. He knows if he does his job a certain way, it may open up something for Dre or Trey Luttrell or Ryan Carter or Keelan Parsons, Jordan Payne, the other guys that have caught passes for us and been highly successful.
So let's talk about the atmosphere that you're hoping for on Saturday night. I mean, we'll be experiencing a full LR football game together for the first time on Saturday. So what are you expecting first from the crowd, and how do you expect your players to kind of react to that?
I expect the crowd to be there early and be enjoying themselves. And then I expect once they get between the bricks, they're going to be extremely loud and super positive for our kids. And I think our kids will feed off that energy. I think you'll see a little more dialed in on the sidelines just because of the nature of it being a home game and us having a packed house. And, we hope to blow the roof off that place.
I want to talk about the defense a little bit. You look at the defensive stats, and the usual suspects are on top. Preston Joseph's the leading tackler. Eric Jackson's right there. Mari Houston has a couple of sacks through 2 games. What are a couple of names other than those 3? Those are the kind of 3 levels of the defense. Amari on the line, Preston at linebacker, Eric on the defensive backfield. What are a couple of names that you're looking for to step up on defense moving forward?
Yeah, Andre Jefferson's a young kid that played really well in our first outing against Virginia State, and he's kind of been splitting time with Dan Luba as Dan's come back from his injury. And I think Andre's going to have a really bright future for us up front. I also think DeAndre Shelton played extremely well last week at Newberry. We did have 9 TFLs in that game, so there was a lot of good to build on. And, John Ross May had a tremendous spring. We think Percy King's a kid at that second level that's still going to continue, and we think his length and speed present problems at times. And then really the defensive back area, there's some young guys. Chris Brown's had some growing pains, but he showed tremendous strides in practice. I think Sedarius Kelly is a name at corner. He's a kid that came in at the quarterback position, and as we transition offenses, he transitioned to a defensive player for us, and he's going into what will be his 7th start at corner, and I think he's a kid that's done a tremendous job, and I think it's somebody that's going to be really good for us for a long time.
So last question, one thing, if there's any if Saturday's result planted a seed of doubt in Bears fans' heads, what's one thing you would like to say to them to kind of reassure them that this Bear team is exactly who you think they are and that everything is still in front of you guys?
One moment doesn't determine your future or your life, and there's a lot of young kids, and the best thing that we can do is learn from it, come back ultra positive with a bunch of energy, and try to play the best football we can to make sure we put a product on the field that the LR fans expect and they're excited about at home between the bricks.
You can see them at home between the bricks for the first time in almost 2 years. I can't wait. I know you can't wait.
Fired up.
It's going to be an awesome atmosphere Saturday night between the bricks. Mars Hill comes to town. Head coach Mike Jacobs and the Bears will be taking them on at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. If you can't make it, it's on the Bears Sports Network. But we hope to see you there. Coach, thanks so much.
Thanks, Eric.
We'll be right back on Bears Talk Live.
What does unlimited mean to you? At Carolina West Wireless, it means unlimited media, unlimited fun, and unlimited access to our nationwide high-speed network. Sign up today for an unlimited data plan and pay just $35 per month per line for 4 lines, and we'll include hotspot and big-time savings on a new smartphone. Take $350 off the revolutionary new Samsung Galaxy S20 and get more out of your unlimited. Expect more, get more. Only from Carolina West Wireless.
Welcome back to Bears Talk Live, presented by J. Brown Realtors here at the Blowing Rock Draft House in Hickory. Eric Bach, happy to be joined by Caroline Hilliard of the Lenoir-Rhyne women's cross-country team. Caroline, a senior from Catawba, 4-year runner on cross-country and track. So, Caroline, you guys are off to a phenomenal start this season. Both, you've run in 2 competitions, and the team has won both competitions. So, I want to go back a little bit to talk about 2020. You guys got off to a fairly similar start, and then things got cut off. But do you feel like, my question is, how do you feel like the team has kind of taken that momentum you took from 2020 and built it into a really fast start in 2021?
Well, I think because a lot of us didn't have the opportunity to race like we wanted to in 2020, we were really excited and fired up to finally be able to race again, and we knew we wanted to put our best effort into that.
So I talked with your coach, Kevin Patterson, who's sitting right over there, a couple weeks ago about the mindset of a cross-country runner. And he said several things about how cross-country is kind of a self-motivated sport. It's a fairly individual sport. So for you, how do you keep yourself motivated to train at the level that you need to train to compete at the level you want to compete at every day?
I keep myself motivated by setting goals for myself, such as personal best, PR times. If I have a specific goal I'd like to set, I know that I need to train hard in order to race well. So that pretty much keeps me motivated.
So that was one of my other questions. Do you have somewhat specific personal goals for yourself this season? I mean, it's your last season running for LR. Do you have any? It doesn't even have to be like a time or something. Do you just have like an overall personal goal for you for this season?
I do actually have a time.
Okay.
I like to think in numbers
Sure.
and times. So for the 5K, I'd really like to break 18
Okay.
because I know I can do it on the track. So I really want to be able to do that on a cross-country course. And for 6K, I'd really like to get low 22s, maybe even under.
So how close are we to that right now?
Right now, for the 6K, I just ran 22:17, so I think I can achieve that goal. And then for 5K, I didn't have the best race that first 5K.
Sure.
But I think with a low 19 on a hilly course, I'll be fine on a flat one.
So I asked you about how do you keep yourself motivated, but I'm sure that the rest of the girls on the team kind of look to you as a senior that's been around for leadership. So you told me how you keep yourself motivated, but how do you help the others on the team stay motivated as a collective group?
I think because we have our own groups that we like to run with, certain like goal paces, we know that when we're together, we try to stick together. And I think that's just kind of understood that we try to stick together.
So like I said before, the team has won the first 2 events of the year and jumped 4 spots in this week's regional rankings. It's also the first time ever in program history that you all receive votes in the coaches poll. So how does it feel to be a leading member of a team that's actually setting school or making school history?
It feels great because we actually have a chance to get to nationals.
Yeah.
That's one of our goals as a team, is to do well enough in regionals to get to nationals as a team.
Yeah, so that was, I asked you about personal goals. That was another question I had down here about team goals. So nationals, is there anything else as a greater collective group of the team that you guys have goals for this season?
We would like to be top 3 in conference and top 3 in regionals. And if we're top 3 in regionals, we should go to nationals as well.
I want to talk for a second about your teammate, Janet Kwambai. She seems to be an awesome person to be around, and obviously she's really fast.
Yeah.
I question, is her presence just by nature make everyone kind of raise their game?
I think whenever she's not here for practice,
Yeah.
we notice it and we miss her.
Right.
So she definitely does make a presence with all of us.
Is it kind of motivating for you guys? Because all of you, I'm sure, have spent a long time chasing her on courses. Is that something that someday I'm going to catch Janet? Is that something that you're have in your mind?
Me personally, I try to at least keep her in sight
Right.
when I'm racing.
Yeah, that's probably, she would be out of my sight long at the very beginning of the race. But a huge meet tomorrow for you guys in Charlotte at the Queen City Invite. It'll be a good measure, I think, of where you guys measure up against some of the best competition in the area. So what are you looking for tomorrow when you girls go down to Charlotte?
I'm definitely looking for a PR.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to try to break 18 if I can, since it's a good course. There'll be good competition there. So me personally, I would like to break a personal best.
I noticed that this meet is later in the afternoon. It starts at 4:15 p.m. You guys normally run in the morning. Is that a difference for you? How is that day different for you, running in the morning versus running in the afternoon?
Usually the only difference is the weather,
Okay.
but this Friday is supposed to be nice weather, so that shouldn't impact us too much. But in years past, it would be, say, 90-something degrees, and that would affect us, but we can't control the weather, so.
Yeah, I mean, too bad you guys aren't running today because it's just beautiful. But going back to the beginning of your LR career, what brought you here in the first place from Catawba?
Part of it was because it was close by. I did want to stay close to family, but I also like the small school atmosphere, and I knew that I would fit in as a team member here.
So my last question for you, I know there's probably a lot of good ones. Hopefully there's more coming up in the future. But what is, if you can narrow it down to one, your favorite memory of cross-country at Lenoir-Rhyne?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It would definitely be something that we've done as a team.
Sure.
Different team activities, team bonding. We went bowling one time, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, Caroline Hilliard and the Bears, they're off to a great start. They try to continue that tomorrow when they go down to Charlotte for the Queen City Invite. Caroline, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back with the Bears Club president, Bob Fincher, next on Bears Talk Live.
Paramount Kia in Hickory. We want to see you driving a new Kia or, hey, a quality pre-owned Kia. We've got a huge selection of new and pre-owned Kias. You got to get to Paramount Kia in Hickory, Highway 70, ParamountKia.com.
Final segment here of today's Bears Talk Live from the Draft House. Eric Bach, happy to be joined by Bears Club President Bob Fincher. Bob, this upcoming Saturday, we talked with Mike Jacobs earlier about the atmosphere and kind of the anticipation that's been building up for this game on Saturday against Mars Hill. So from your perspective as the president of the Bears Club and as one of the leaders of that group, how exciting is it to be back together in full this upcoming Saturday between the bricks?
We can't hardly stand it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's We were talking about this the other day. It's 658 days.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Between our last fall football game between the Bricks. So it's been a long time coming. I think everybody's really excited about it.
So we'll get to the upcoming Bears Club events in a second. For both of us, I've mentioned this with Coach Jacobs earlier, this will be the first one that we've experienced full throttle this in football. So as someone who has yet to experience a home game, can you describe to me, if you can, what the atmosphere is like?
Yeah, absolutely. It depends on what time you get there.
Sure.
So we'll be there around 2.
Yeah.
Setting up, tailgating, getting everything squared away. I think our menu this weekend is tacos.
Okay.
Is kind of our tailgate menu. So if you stop by, bring a side, some guac or some salsa or something like
Sure.
that. But come on by our tailgate, and there'll be a bunch of tailgates out there. So that practice field and also in the main parking lot is going to be jumping early on. So there's plenty of opportunity to hang out and kind of get the energy up before the game. And then, there's no place in football like between the Bricks at Moret Stadium. I mean, it's an awesome place to be and beautiful setting, and looking forward to seeing what these guys can do on Saturday.
So we don't want to push past the upcoming games, but the homecoming game is 1 month from today, October 23rd against Limestone. But there's lots of Bears Club events coming up between now and then. So there's an auction, golf outing. Can you kind of tell the people about what the Bears Club is going to be up to coming up?
Yeah, well, first I'll just say, it's been incredible just to see the amount of support from all of the Bears Club members and just all the people that are supporting student athletes. I mean, I think all of our sports right now are off to a great start. Mm-hmm. You just got to hear from cross country, and they're doing fantastic. Both our soccer teams are doing really well. Our volleyball team had a signature win the other night, and there's so many people in Bear Nation that are kind of pulling behind them.
Exactly.
And those are a lot of the same people that have been supporting student athletes through the Bears Club for the duration. Right. Even coming off a really wonky year with COVID and all the restrictions and changes in plans for athletics, to see the amount of support from Bear Nation has been really just incredible. So that started things off really where we left off long ago, a year and a half ago. And so now, as we're kind of into full swing with athletics and with the school year underway, we do have a few things on the calendar coming up. So the big fundraiser time period for us, we have one in the spring for the Bears Club, and then this one coming up in the fall around homecoming.
Yep. So I wonder how you got started with the Bears Club. I wonder what the origin story is with you and the Bears Club.
Yeah, well, came to Lenoir-Rhyne and played here back in the late 90s, and then started volunteering and spent a few times in meetings with our former athletic director, Neil McGahey, and just an incredible guy and a great leader, and made the mistake of raising my hand during one of the meetings and asking a question, and that sort of got me signed up for different committees and things like that, and we've just gone from there. And really, it's a passion of mine. I mean, I love being around the student athletes and just seeing the different types of kids that are coming through here and that are going through here and leaving us on a regular basis better than the way they came. And that has a lot to do with the support that we can provide for them and the coaches in the athletic department. It makes a difference in kids' lives, and so that's something that's important to me.
So what is your favorite part about being in the Bears Club? I think you might have kind of just hit on that, the support of the student athletes, but it's kind of a brotherhood and sisterhood of Bears supporting Bears, as we like to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it gets you connected to other people, and we refer to them as Bear Nation. It gets you connected to a lot of other people, and really it's for a very specific purpose, and that's student athletes. And that's all it is.
Right.
I mean, that's our primary mission, is to enhance the student athlete experience. And so as we've had a chance to talk during some of the turnover and some of the changes that we've had over the last year or so, in just a very different and sometimes difficult situation, the reality is we still have a whole group of freshmen coming in that are going through our athletic department, and a whole group of seniors that are going to be leaving. And so what kind of an impact can we have on them? That their experience doesn't change unless we're there to support them. So that's an important thing for me.
Is there one game that sticks out that you have? Do you have a favorite game as a member of the Bears Club that you've been at?
I got a lot of favorite games.
Yeah.
I mean, trip down to Alabama was a big game. That playoff run was certainly a big game. Beating Carson Newman's always a fun game.
Yeah.
Whenever we beat Wingate, that's always a good game. So That's just on the football field. I mean, anytime you can get a chance to see any of these student athletes, whether it's on the basketball court or I don't know that I don't even know how to watch a cross-country meet.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would go.
Might be one of those in-person things.
But we should.
Yeah.
More people should.
Yeah.
So it's impressive just what they're doing and the start that they're off to. So anytime you get a chance to see some of our Bears in action, it's a good day.
So last question, how do people get started with the Bears Club? What are the benefits of joining, and how do people actually join?
Yeah, a couple things. Just go to lrbears.com. We want you to be a part of the Bears Club. All of the resources that we raise go to support the student-athlete experience. More specifically, coming up with homecoming, we have our annual golf tournament. Love for you to get involved in that. Pick up a team, come out there and play with us for that. We have an auction that'll be a silent and a live auction coming up the Friday night before homecoming, and then, of course, all of our homecoming festivities. So there's a lot of ways to get plugged in and help these student-athletes.
When and where is the golf tournament?
The golf tournament is Friday, the 22nd of October,
Okay.
and it'll be at Catawba Springs.
Catawba Springs. So you heard the man. Sign up, support the Bears. If you have any passion for the Bears, the best way to channel it is through the Bears Club. So President Bob Fincher, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been Bears Talk Live. We'll be back next Thursday, hopefully talking about a football win and a lot of other wins that will happen between now and then. I'm Eric Bach. We'll talk to you then.
Go Bears.
Yeah.